Hey, good morning. If you pay attention to the thumbnail, you'll know what this is about. But I thought I'd grab a cup of coffee and have a little discussion here. And I'm going to take some time here, do a couple of things, normal everyday morning rituals. We're at a balmy 34 degrees today. And thought I'd still come outside here for a minute. So bear with me. Son of a gun, I still can bend over and tie shoes. Or get them done in one way or the other anyway. So while I finish this up here real quick, I've been in search of a new rig to help myself out a little bit with a holster that would go with me easily. Talked about this before. I no longer can wear belts, haven't been able to wear belts, and if you notice, there's other methods I've been carrying, for example 1911 and whatnot. But anyway, I thought I would take a few minutes to give you some first impressions of a new holster that I received. And yesterday I spent all day wearing this particular holster, and I did all kinds of things, normal everyday chores, including probably my least favorite chore, which is doing a batch of dishes at the sink. So at this point, I'm going to do this and reveal this new holster. Now, this holster currently right now has my favorite Remington New Model Army. But this holster is actually meant to fit a Ruger Super Blackhawk. And in this case, this Super Blackhawk is really just no more than a Ruger Old Army, which is a Ruger Super Blackhawk with a loading lever. But I wore this around. It gives me lots of room, and I wanted to give you some of my first impressions of this. One, I'm pretty happy with the engineering, and when I mean happy with the engineering, I have a tendency to over-engineer stuff. In this case, I think the simplicity of this engineering is its plus. Meaning, as you just saw, my 1858, and this is my favorite, my Target model, and it slide back and forth. Now, is that unusual? No, because even back in the day, a Hunter Ruger Super Blackhawk holster on my side was also what I carried Remingtons in. But since I've gotten this, I've not only got the Ruger Old Army in here, the Remingtons, I've also gotten my Colt Walker to fit into this. Now the problem with that Walker right now is the barrel sticks out about that long. I am going to invest into a 10.5 version of this, and my Rogers and Spencer fit in it. And as for right now, I am going to go ahead and take this out and test one more, just for kicks and giggles, because one of the things I do want to get is a holster to fit my TC Contender. Now, I'm not 100% hopeful on this, and no, it's close, but we'll figure that one out when it's time. But either way, so far, pretty versatile, pretty setup. I'm going to put back in this guy. Now, there is a couple of minor changes I made to this since it's gotten here. One, this particular screw, which this is a screw system, believe it or not, you take these 4 screws out and you can lay this holster out flat. These 3 here, I've already put, well, actually all 4 of them, I put thread locker on them, Loctite. And this particular screw came with a longer screw on it, so you could adjust it for weight or for retention. In this case, I went ahead and moved that retention and put a regular screw in it, because the package does come with extra screws with it. Another thing I did change, and I'll take this back off here, is this particular connection strap right here ran both sides, and whenever I would take the revolver out, I would catch that leather on the fingertips, and I decided putting both of these to one side worked for me better. And if you get a chance here, you can see where I'm talking about, where your finger would be dragging across that. Now, not so much. As far as something I believe that would need to be changed in this setup is, if I had an option to do so, instead of having this strap like so, I personally would prefer something I could reach out and just thumb it off like that. That's just a personal preference. Also, you notice that I'm wearing this over my right shoulder, and that's kind of by design for me. They give you the option, according to their website, that it could go over both. Well, here's one thing in my history that I will tell you, and that is, I was an avid archery hunter, and this was my position. And this guy right here, just this button, when practicing, could be a source of a problem catching strings. So this whole thing coming over to here so I can do this freely is a plus. And even with that being said, even though it's over on my right hand shoulder, it's not getting in my way in any way, shape, or form for shouldering a rifle. Again, you're just watching me tie my shoes, put shoes on carrying this. I did, like I said, dishes with it yesterday. Now, this is a full 8-inch long barrel. I said to a few people that 5.5 to 6.5 is what I preferred for bear protection, because it's less resistant when trying to carry it around. But you got to admit, for an 8-inch barrel, that's pretty good. And this is my max length that I prefer to carry. You know, the BFR with a 10-inch barrel, 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, this ain't the rig for that. If you're going to do nothing but hunt with it, great. But if you're going to try to function around a camp or whatever, a 10.5-inch BFR, or for that matter, my 12-inch Remington of the same thing, would stick out another 4 inches. And you can see how another 4 inches of sticking out could be a major issue. Oh, here's another thing I'm going to show. I know this is running way longer than I expected, but I'm going to take a moment and take this off real quick. What's nice about this particular setup is the way they got this set. is that screw, and that screw is all it takes to put a different holster on this. So, and of course I made a couple changes here. I got a Grizzly in here stamped into the thing. I did that. But either way, 3 screws, and you can switch out to a 1911 holster or any other holster you intend to. Now, one of the things I'm going to ask for when I go for more holsters is, instead of taking and having to remove this screw, when I get a holster, I'm going to ask for the complete buckle set like so that when it shows up, all I got to do is use the existing holster. And having a spare piece of plastic, not a bad plan. With that, if you came here wearing your feelings on your sleeves looking to get your butt hurt, you may have come to the right place.